Hi, this is Rod Brown. I'm the Chief Operations Officer of Once Logics, and you are watching the Flowgram.
When Corbin and I first got the idea to do the Flowgram, I knew the exact person I wanted for our first episode. I personally known Rod Brown for about 25 years and had always looked up to him for first just being an awesome individual, his business acumen, and always having the entrepreneurial spirit. So Corbin and I packed up our equipment and headed down to Greensboro in what would be the first winter storm of 2017. So we braved the elements and went to interview Rod Brown. Here's his story.
Look this way, don't look at the camera. Okay. Born and raised in Wilmington, North Carolina. Okay. Port City, home of Michael Jordan, just in case people didn't know that Mike was from Wilmington. But born and raised there, went to Winston-Salem State University, and got a job right out of school with Wachovia Bank at the time. Okay. Now, formerly Wachovia, now Wells Fargo, and just stayed and remained in this area. The Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point area. Worked several different departments or divisions at Wachovia, and did pretty well, but wasn't satisfied overall. And actually, I was in banking operations and just kind of climbing the ladder in banking operations, and wanted more. And so I found something that was close to being an entrepreneur, but still under that corporate umbrella, and that was being a financial advisor. Sure. Because I was responsible for building my own book. I didn't get a W-2 paycheck, and I pretty much ate what I killed. So that was as close to entrepreneurship. But then, even with that, I had a lunch meeting with my boss, and he said something really profound. He said, Rod, we do really well and we make a good living, but we'll never own anything. And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. And then from that point forward, I started looking for that thing that I could possibly own. No, man, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was 10. I had 3 businesses when me and my friends. So we had newspaper routes, and me and all of my friends, we did these things together. We had newspaper routes for like the oldest black newspaper in North Carolina. We mowed yards, and then we used to knock mistletoe out of trees, bag it up, and sell it during Christmas time. So when I was like 10 or 11, we always had money because we were always hustling, doing something. And so I liked the way that felt, where if I asked my mom for some money and she either said no or didn't have it, then we go do something to get money legally. So I knew then. And then even in college, me and some friends, we kicked around different ideas. We never really launched anything, but we kicked around a lot of different ideas. We always had some kind of roadblock. Most of the time it was us, now that I look back. But yeah, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
So, you're a big guy. You ever play sports?
Yeah, I play sports. A little tap dancing, a little ballet. I'm kidding, man. I play. He looked at me like, yeah, right. But I played football, played basketball.
Okay.
In high school, and a little football in college. Not enough to be even worth anything. So, yeah.
So was that I would imagine that it sounds like that you didn't want to be labeled because of your size.
Yeah, I mean, that was a part of it because, everywhere, if you're a big guy, wherever you go, it's like, who you play for, whether you play for somebody or not. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's no big deal. But I mean, I love sports, and even if I, play I play intramurals basketball in college, and high school played football and basketball. So yeah, I mean, I love sports, but it wasn't too deep. But after you hang those sneakers up, then it's like, what's next, right? And so I guess a lot of times people just go, oh my goodness, you must just be an athlete, and that's not the case.
Right. Right. So you're with Once Logic.
Yep.
Now, and you're the COO.
Yep, COO, the coup.
So what exactly does that entail?
Chief Operations Officer is, well, we launched our company in 2005. Okay. 2005, we gave ourselves titles, but you're a brand new company, like we talked about earlier, you do everything. Right. And so, I've been the COO, but I also do sales and a little bit of everything. But basically, the operations officer is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the organization, making sure that processes are in place for the organization to go. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So what is if you could pinpoint one thing that, or I guess I should say the biggest mistake that up and coming entrepreneurs make, if you could just, and I know it's probably thousands,
right?
But if you can pinpoint one thing that most of them make that hinders that success, what would it be?
I don't know if this is a mistake or just human nature, but there's a bunch of spokes off of this, but people quit too soon.
Wow.
Right? So I don't know if that's a mistake or not, but there's no such thing as a failure. You just have people that quit. Okay. Right? So, you have these huge aspirations. I want to make $1 million in the next 12 months or the next 18 months, or I want to be on, Billboard magazine, or I want to, whatever the aspiration is. And that time period comes and they didn't hit that aspiration. And then they get discouraged. And then that discouragement, turns into excuses. And then those excuses turn into their reality. And then they quit. Yeah. So I would say quitting too soon is, again, I'm not sure if it's a mistake, but I think just a part of human nature that when we don't see the fruit, then it's like something must be wrong. And instead of going, well, I don't see the fruit, that means I need to change, I need to switch, but I don't need to quit. I need to pivot. I don't need to quit. Like quitting can't be an option, right? So I would say that.
I guess quitting too soon is not necessarily the mistake. It's quitting and not starting back.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, it's like everyone has potential. Everyone has potential, right? And then so in order to bring that potential from this mystical thing to something that's tangible, we got to put in a bunch of effort. So we put in a bunch of effort that's tied to our potential, then we'll start to see results, right? And when we see results, then that kind of increases our belief. And then as our belief gets stronger, then we go, wow, I did that, then I can do this. And then that potential bubbles up and it gets bigger, which means then my effort is going to have to increase. Then my fruit is going to increase. And then that's going to add more to my belief. And then my potential is going to go to here. And so it's that cycle of, my potential and my effort and the fruit and my belief. If you don't believe it, it's not going to happen. Or whatever you believe is going to happen. How about I put it that way?
So you believe in like speaking things into it, of course, with action.
Right. Absolutely.
It's
yeah.
not just going to fall out of the sky, but
right.
Because I'm talking to entrepreneurs as much as I do now, I am starting to see that a lot of them really, have that, they follow that guide saying you have to speak.
Man, you have to have like unwavering belief. Your belief has to be, if somebody's not calling you crazy that knows who you are before you got plugged in to that belief, they're not saying, you know, that's not you. You're crazy. What's wrong with you? Then something's wrong. Because they know you before you had the dream or the vision or the goal. They knew who you were, and y'all never talked about it. You never discussed it. You never, demonstrated your belief. And if they're not saying, what's wrong with you? You driving all over the country. You putting 20,000 miles on your car. You left a cushy corporate job. What is wrong with you? And and all the while, you got darts coming from the left, darts coming from the right. But in your mind, it's like, it's going to happen. I just believe it's going to happen. But I have to tie my effort into that, right? Because when the effort is plugged into that, and I have relentless effort, just like I have relentless belief, then I'm going to have fruit. And when I get the fruit, that's going to validate my belief. Because a lot of times we don't believe something until we see it, right?
Which doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
It negates the whole factor of believing.
Right. Exactly.
Because believing doesn't require sight.
It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. A belief is simply information I've agreed with. That's it. That's all a belief is. Now, the trick is, where are you getting that information from? Right? Where's that information coming from? But it's information that I've agreed with.
Right, so let me ask you a question. So have you encountered, and you hear stories about this a lot, as far as being an African American male, in the business world, and I would imagine because you guys are in the technology field, and things associated with that, have you encountered any I don't want to say discrimination, but people may kind of giving you the side eye, like, what could these guys know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's pretty much a white male dominated
you're right.
field.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, just a couple stories. One, and this was actually when I was at Wachovia, and I went into wealth management, and that was a concern of mine, because the majority of the people that I would be working with, they didn't look like me.
Sure.
And they were older white people. And so I had a concern. I'm like, are these people gonna, respect that I am knowledgeable enough to help them with their issues and their problems? And so I asked my boss, I had a candid conversation at the time with my boss, and my boss, who happened to be an African American male, he said to me, and it always has stuck with me, he said, you got about 20 seconds to convince these people that you can help solve their problems. You got about 20 seconds. Once they realize you can help solve their problems, then you're good to go. But you got about 20 seconds, because you're going to be, you're not going to pass the eye test out the gate. So you got about 20 seconds. Sure. So that stuck with me. When we first started our company early on, we're going to these trade shows and these conferences that I talked about.
Right.
And this guy came up to us and said, y'all don't want them to know that this is a minority-owned company. You really don't. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, you need to get a fresh white face up front, because that will help y'all go. That will help y'all, And this is a white guy telling us this.
Wow.
And so, which made us go, okay, we're going to do the total opposite. We're going to do things we're going to be smarter than you. We're going to be more creative than you. And so we were at these major conferences where people spent thousands of dollars for booth space, where we might have spent $800, $900. And we're winning the best vendor awards because of just certain things that we did that other people who spent $20,000 for their space didn't do. So, we made it our business from that point just to go, we want everybody to know. Mm-hmm. And then the last quick little story, there's a picture posted, I think it was on Facebook, on one social media platform, of us having a meeting in our conference room, and one of our developers was in the meeting, and he's a white guy. And I was talking to an African American client one day, and they said, I saw that picture. And I'm like, cool. And they were like, is this guy, is he okay to work for? Y'all like working for him? And they were talking about our developer. They were talking about the developer, like he owned the company, and it was an African American, and it was just an assumption because we never said, this is the black owned company or I own the company. I'm there trying to help them with their problems. And so they said, is he cool to work for? I was like, well, nah. Well, I mean, he's cool to work with. We work together. But so
wow,
those are just some experiences. But but at the same time, if you're focused on what you believe, you just keep your head down and you run. And, you just kind of like a running back. You just bounce off of them and you keep going.
So you guys have, I know you guys have been featured in Black Enterprise, and also Inc. Is it Inc. 5000?
Inc. magazine, they do a list, the Inc. 5000 every year, the 5,000 fastest growing privately held businesses, and we made the list. I'm looking for the companies that are led by people that look like me, and I don't see many. We're talking about 5,000 companies.
Wow.
Right. So out of 5,000, after I talked to one of the staffers, they said there were 73 minority-led companies out of the 5,000.
Wow.
Right. So that was the first. Okay. So then, fast forward to 2017, we make the list again. But we also do this Forbes thing. And so Forbes invites all of the small giants to New York. And we go to New York to meet, to mingle, to network. And there was a room, about 100 people, 125 people in the room. And in that room, there were 4 African Americans.
Out of 25.
Out of 100, out of about 125 people in the room. So people brought people from their company.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And so me and my business partner were 2, and so there were 2 others. These folks out in Texas that have a remarkable company. And so I'm like, okay, are these like publications not looking for the African American companies? Are they just not there? Sure. Are they not doing well? Or like, what's really going on? And they gave us a stat, or I found this stat that says 80% of African American led companies fail within 18 months. And so, me, Ty, and Trent, we've been doing this thing for a dozen years. We've been doing it for 12 years. So you can imagine the mistakes that we've made and the things that we've learned, the experiences that we've had that's taught us a whole lot, right? So, we were just like, man, we can't sit around and just allow this to continue.
Right.
And we got so much to share, so much to offer, so much to give, right? And so, as a result of those experiences, our conversations, the Small Business Cookout was born. And basically, it's a movement to bring together minority and women-led companies, because those are the groups that didn't get the head start.
Sure.
Right? And so we're trying to level the playing field, but we want to do it together because there's power in numbers, there's power in unity, and there's power in our economic dollars. So we want to help educate, help people improve their skill set, give them access. So I'm sitting in there with Forbes execs, with Inc. magazine execs, and they're bringing some powerful people. They're bringing, CEOs of $100 million, $500 million companies. We're listening to a Tony Robbins speak for 2 hours. And so you can imagine the information that we're getting. We go to a Tony Robbins event, we learn about, for a week, and we learn about 2 or 3 things that easily added 30% to our bottom line. So giving African American led companies and women led companies information and practices and access like that,
Right.
so that we can come together. So just imagine if you. And so that's it. We just want to bring together minority and women-led businesses, man, and then go on this journey together. Teach them what we've learned. We're bringing in, like, we have our first event February 9th and 10th in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're bringing in some incredible speakers that have done it. So anybody we put in front of our audiences or the tribe, they've done it. They've been a part of it. So we'll have some incredible speakers. We're having a panel called the 7-Figure Sandbox. So anybody on that panel, they have a 7-figure plus company, or they've done 7-figure deals. So you're going to get that kind of knowledge, that kind of information and experience. So Fridays will be that immersion day that we just get immersed in knowledge, information, education, skill building that we haven't had before, right? And Friday night, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a live band, probably a jazz band on Friday night. Saturday morning, it's a boot camp. So we're going to get up, we're going to talk about why it's important to take care of your body, why it's important to, why fitness is important, so we can be around to enjoy, you know, the fruits of our labor. So we're doing a boot camp, and then Action Saturday, after the boot camp, we'll have a pitch competition. We'll do something called speed mentoring, kind of like speed dating, where you spend 3 to 5 minutes with the mentor. You get up and go to another one, get up and go to another one.
Wow.
With the notion that I'm going to connect with somebody, so when I leave, I got a mentor. We'll be doing business coaching on Saturday as well. You can come get a free headshot, and we're going to feed you. So, yeah, so you can go to www.thesmallbusinesscookout.com to register. And yeah, that's it, man. We just want to come together and build something great so that we can grow together and have an economic base, man, so we can be strong and get some things accomplished. Period.
Absolutely. How can we find you online?
Facebook is Rod Brown, and Twitter is Roderick L. Brown, and Instagram is Roderick L. Brown. And again, you can go to thesmallbusinesscookout.com.
Cool.
My favorite Biggie line, heartthrob never, black and ugly as ever. However,
Stay Gucci down to the socks, rings and watch filled with rocks. And my jam knocking the Mitsubishi. Girls creepy when they see me, never creep me in they teepee as I lay down.